Hello, inspiring English learners, and a very warm welcome back to Podcast English. I'm absolutely delighted to have you join us today as we continue our wonderful journey of mastering English. At Podcast English, our primary goal is to make your language learning experience not just effective, but truly captivating and profoundly inspiring. We meticulously craft compelling narratives designed to significantly boost your listening comprehension, enrich your vocabulary, and help you grasp more intricate English grammar in a natural, immersive context. Today, we're moving forward with our adventure at level B1. This means you'll encounter an even richer tapestry of nuanced vocabulary, more elaborate sentence structures, and a slightly quicker, yet always perfectly clear and supportive storytelling pace compared to our A2 narratives. Our main aim is to offer a stimulating yet entirely achievable challenge, empowering you to build confidence and fluency with every listen. And as always, our stories are more than just language lessons. They deliver profound messages and timeless life lessons that deeply resonate with real human experiences, the spark of creativity, and the power of connection. Today's heartfelt story is about the highs and lows of artistic creation, about finding inspiration in surprising places, and about the incredible unifying power of music. It's called The Musician's Unexpected Melody. So, open your ears and your heart, listen closely, and let's enjoy this harmonious tale together. Leo was a talented musician, a composer with a gift for creating beautiful melodies. He played the piano with grace and skill, and his compositions often told stories without words, full of emotion and beauty. He had a small apartment in the city, filled with sheet music, instruments, and the quiet hum of his own creative energy. He spent hours at his piano, his fingers dancing across the keys, translating his feelings into music. His dream was to compose a piece of music that would truly touch people's hearts, a melody that would be remembered. He wanted to create something timeless, something that would resonate with listeners for generations. For many years, Leo's music flowed easily. Inspiration seemed to find him everywhere, in the city's sounds, in the laughter of children, in the quiet beauty of a sunset. He wrote dozens of pieces, some light and cheerful, others deep and thoughtful. He performed in small venues, and his audience always appreciated his heartfelt compositions. People often told him that his music made them feel hopeful or brought back happy memories. He felt fulfilled, driven by his passion and the joy he brought to others. He was on a clear path to achieving his dream. However, lately, something had changed. Leo felt stuck. The melodies that once came so naturally now seemed to hide from him. He would sit at his piano for hours, but the notes felt dead, flat, without emotion. He tried different chords, different rhythms, but nothing felt right. It was as if his well of inspiration had run dry. He felt a growing sense of frustration and disappointment. This creative block was a heavy weight on his shoulders. He began to doubt his talent, wondering if he had lost his gift forever. He tried to force the music, but true creativity couldn't be forced. The silence of his apartment, once comforting, now felt empty and oppressive. He missed the effortless flow of ideas, the joyful rush of creation.
He stopped performing. He even found it hard to listen to music, as it reminded him of his own struggles. His apartment, once a vibrant workshop of sound, became quiet, filled only with his sighing and the occasional rustle of old sheet music. He would walk through the city, but the sounds that once inspired him now just seemed like noise. He felt disconnected from the world and from his own artistic self. He longed for the spark to return, for the melody to find him once again. He remembered that even in podcast English stories, characters sometimes faced difficult challenges and felt lost, and he wondered how they found their way.
One rainy afternoon, feeling particularly disheartened, Leo decided to leave his apartment. He didn't want to think about music. He walked aimlessly through the city, his head down, ignoring the bustling streets. He passed busy cafes, noisy shops, and people rushing by with umbrellas. The rain started to fall harder, and he looked for shelter. He ducked into a narrow, quiet alley he had never noticed before. It was a forgotten place, damp and dimly lit, far from the main roads. He just wanted a moment of quiet, a place to escape his thoughts. As he stood there, leaning against a cold brick wall, he heard something, a faint sound, almost imperceptible over the patter of the rain. It was a melody, a very simple one, played on a very old, slightly out-of-tune instrument. It was coming from deeper within the alley, from behind a stack of old, forgotten wooden crates. It was not a grand or perfect sound, but there was a raw, honest beauty in it. It was unexpected, a tiny note of music in a place he thought would be silent. His curiosity was gently piqued.
Leo slowly walked deeper into the alley, following the sound. Behind the crates, huddled under a small, leaky awning, sat an old man. He was dressed in worn, patched clothes, and his face was kind, but etched with the marks of a difficult life. In his hands, he held a homemade stringed instrument, something that looked like a banjo or a small lute, clearly crafted from old, repurposed materials. The man was playing a quiet, repetitive melody, his eyes closed, lost in his own world of sound. He seemed oblivious to the rain, to the cold, to Leo's presence. He was just playing for himself, for the empty alley. The melody was simple, perhaps only a few notes repeated, but it had a profound effect on Leo. It wasn't complex like his own compositions, and it wasn't perfectly played, but it was pure. It carried a feeling of resilience, a quiet strength, and a deep sense of peace, despite the old man's humble circumstances. It was a melody that spoke of enduring life, of finding beauty even in forgotten corners. Leo listened, captivated. He forgot his own frustrations, his creative block. He just listened to the raw, honest sound. He found himself thinking about how simple things can often hold the most profound beauty. He realized that sometimes the most authentic music doesn't come from grand concert halls, but from the quiet corners of the world. When the old man finally opened his eyes, he saw Leo standing there. He smiled, a gentle, toothless smile. "Hello, young man," he said, his voice raspy but kind. "Do you like my music?" Leo nodded, deeply moved. "It's beautiful," he said, honestly. "What is that instrument, and where did you learn that melody?" "This?" He held up his instrument. "I made it myself from old wood and fishing wire. It's nothing special, but it sings for me. And the melody, it's an old tune from my village, from a time long ago. My grandmother used to sing it to me. It's a song of patience, a song of hope." He then introduced himself as Silas. Silas had been a street performer in his younger days, traveling from town to town, sharing his simple tunes. He had seen much of the world, and his eyes held many stories.
Leo sat down beside Silas on an empty crate. He asked Silas to play more. Silas played several more simple tunes, each one carrying a similar feeling of quiet endurance and humble beauty. They talked for a long time. Silas shared stories of his life, his travels, his struggles, and his simple joys. He spoke about how music was always his companion, how it helped him through difficult times, and how it connected him to his past. He never aimed for perfection, just for honesty in his playing. He said, "Music is like breathing, young man. You don't try to make it perfect, you just let it be." As Silas spoke, and as the simple melodies filled the damp alley, something began to shift inside Leo. He felt a warmth spread through him, a gentle awakening. He realized that he had been trying too hard, forcing his music, making it complicated when it needed to be simple. He had forgotten the pure joy of creation, the honesty that came from the heart. He had been so focused on perfection, on achieving his grand dream, that he had lost the simple love for the music itself. He also realized that sometimes the inspiration you seek isn't found in books or grand experiences, but in the most humble and unexpected places, like a quiet alley and an old man's simple tune. He thought of all the rich characters he'd met through Podcast English Stories, and how each one taught him something new, often in unexpected ways. He also noticed how Silas was completely in tune with his music, effortlessly creating beautiful sounds despite the imperfections of his instrument. It was a lesson in acceptance and authenticity.
When the rain finally stopped and the first rays of evening sun broke through the clouds, Leo stood up. "Silas," he said, "thank you. Thank you for the music and for your stories. You've reminded me of something very important." He pulled out a small notepad and a pencil from his bag. "Would you mind if I wrote down some of your melodies? I'd like to remember them." Silas smiled. "Of course, young man. A melody shared is a melody kept alive." He played some of his favorite tunes again, slowly, while Leo quickly jotted down the notes. Leo also shared a little about his own journey as a composer, and Silas listened with genuine interest. They promised to meet again. Leo returned to his apartment that evening, a new lightness in his step. He sat at his piano, not with frustration, but with a quiet sense of curiosity. He looked at Silas's simple melodies on the paper. He started to play them, feeling the honest beauty in each note. And as he played, something unexpected happened. New notes began to flow. New chords, new rhythms grew organically from Silas's simple tunes. It was as if a blocked stream had finally found its way, flowing freely once more. The music wasn't forced. It was inspired, gentle, and deeply heartfelt. It was a fusion of his own talent and the pure, honest spirit of Silas's music. Over the next few weeks, Leo visited Silas often. They would sit in the alley, sharing stories and music. Leo would play his new compositions, inspired by Silas, and Silas would listen, his eyes filled with warmth and appreciation. Leo's music now had a new depth, a raw authenticity that it had lacked before. It still had his intricate style, but now it also had the humble honesty of the alley, the quiet strength of Silas's spirit. He felt a renewed joy in his work, a sense of purpose that went beyond just creating beautiful sounds. He was composing from the heart again. Leo eventually composed a new piece, his most profound and beautiful work yet. He called it the Alley Melody, dedicating it to Silas. It was a composition that wove together complex harmonies with simple, heartfelt tunes, echoing the journey he had taken. When he performed it, the audience was deeply moved. They felt the emotion, the journey, the unexpected inspiration. It was a piece that truly touched hearts, just as he had dreamed. He even found a way to share his experience with the Podcast English community, talking about how unexpected connections can lead to incredible breakthroughs, not just in music, but in language learning too. This story, The Musician's Unexpected Melody, offers several invaluable lessons that are perfect for your B1 English journey with Podcast English. First, creativity can be found everywhere. Leo found his inspiration in a forgotten alley and an old man's simple music. When learning English, don't limit yourself to textbooks. Find inspiration in songs, movies, everyday conversations, or even by listening to diverse stories on Podcast English. Creativity in learning helps you overcome challenges.
Second, overcoming creative blocks requires a shift in perspective. Leo was stuck when he tried too hard. Silas taught him simplicity and honesty. If you feel stuck in your English learning, try a different approach. Focus on enjoying the process, not just the perfection. Sometimes a simple step, like listening to a new Podcast English story, can reignite your motivation. Third, the power of unexpected connections. Silas, a seemingly ordinary old man, profoundly impacted Leo's life and music. Be open to new people and new experiences. You never know who or what might provide the next piece of inspiration for your English learning or for your life. Fourth, authenticity enriches everything. Silas's music was honest and pure,
and this authenticity eventually flowed into Leo's compositions. When you speak English, don't be afraid to be yourself. Your authentic voice, even with mistakes, is more powerful and memorable than a perfectly grammatically correct but uninspired sentence. Finally, music and art connect us. Music brought Leo and Silas together, bridging their different worlds. Language, like music, is a powerful tool for connection. The more you learn English, the more you can connect with people from different backgrounds, share your stories, and understand theirs. Podcast English aims to be that bridge for you. Thank you for listening to The Musician's Unexpected Melody on Podcast English. I hope this story inspired you to find your own unexpected melodies in life and in your English learning journey. Remember, inspiration often strikes when you least expect it, from the simplest, most honest places. If you enjoyed this heartfelt story and want to hear more B1 English stories that inspire creativity and personal growth, please give us a thumbs up. Your likes help us know what content you enjoy most and help other English learners find our channel. And please subscribe to Podcast English for more captivating narratives, expanded vocabulary, and advanced tips for your English journey. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our next story, our next lesson, our next opportunity to learn and grow together. We are so happy to have you here, finding your rhythm and learning with us. See you next time. And keep your ears open for unexpected melodies.